Welcome to Milan. This is Milan Central train station. It is quite spectacular and we're going to get on the train through there in about half an hour and head off to Como. For the time being, we've come looking for sandwiches.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
We have arrived in Como at least. Now we've just got to find the apartment and then stop carrying around really heavy suitcases. We're going to be back here first thing tomorrow and going back to Monza. So we're just wandering the streets waiting for them to finish their last bit of cleaning. Looking at, there's some people in medieval costume and there appears to be some thrones and some armour and what have you. So that's presumably what's happening here. They're doing a sound test. Good morning from the back streets of Como, greeted by a friendly dog. As you can see, the sky is substantially more blue than it was yesterday, and we're just on our way to the train station, as I imagine a lot of people are, to go to Monza. I've made it into the paddock. This is absolute chaos just to see a piece of kit, which I can't now see for an hour. But other than that, it's going well. This is obviously the start-finish straight. This is absolute chaos.
Second place, Nakamura of Finland. And the winner, Lewis Hamilton of Mercedes Italy.
It's all been a bit manic today. The race is pretty straightforward, but I've been up and down, taking passes, giving them back. Not really what I wanted to be doing. But now I'm just heading back. This is the Parabolica. I'm just heading back down to the bend where Crystal is currently residing, and then we're going to cross the track and get out the circuit. This is a bit of the old embankment on the south side. You can see the guys climbed up onto it. This is, you're looking not at the side of it, you're looking at the track. The grey bit is the track, and it's very, very steep indeed. boat coming out here. So we made it back to Como. It's quite a long trip back from Monza, and to walk through the park and then get a bus and then get a train, both of which were quite slow because there's quite a lot of people. Here we are, back in Como, looking to meet up with Adam and Corin and find somewhere to have dinner. Good morning. So that building on the corner there, the slightly orangey one, the first floor with all the shutters closed, that's our apartment. Left the shutters closed for fear of the heat that might get it. This is quite a pretty street. You can see these amazing frescoes on the outside of the building, and that is the old town gate. And we're just off in search of a bakery to get some breakfast. And then we're going to get on a boat. This is an amazing bakery.
And away we go.
Yeah, 2 hours on the boat. Nice lake boat trip. This is our boat when we came on, going back. And now we've got a bit of time to explore and have some lunch. And take it easy. This is where I've just had lunch. Can we go out that way? Cool, then we should.
Well, I don't know.
We've come around to the viewpoint at the end of Bellagio. So that's up the lake to the north. And this goes down round to the right down to Lego, which is one leg of Lake Como, and around to the left, the other leg takes you down to Como itself. Come down to a little beach. See the view. Deboated, getting in search of a 4:30 ice cream. Morning, we are currently wandering around to find the bottom of this mountain. There's a funicular you might be able to see in the hillside there, and you go up to the top. And then we've got to check out properly and go to the train station and visit our next city. There's Como itself, that's where we went from yesterday, the boat right there. Let's come around to where the base of the funicular is, which is this hut in front of us. And that's the hydrofoil we took on the way back. Anyway, we are going to go into that hut there, and then we're going to go up here. Up the road, at the top of the mountain. It's quite a surprisingly busy road. I'm actually passed about 5 cars already. Sort of looking southwest there, I guess eventually towards Genoa in that direction. I don't think you can see anywhere near that far. So we've come down obviously and we've gone for a little walk and ended up here having some lunch in a square facing the cathedral. The thing I showed you earlier, and this is the old what would you call it, market place, civic centre. So this predates the cathedral by quite a long way, and they had to knock down a bit of it when they built the cathedral, because you can see it sort of touches the edge. We went in there yesterday and it's very spectacular, as you'd expect from a Catholic cathedral. And now we've got to head back to the apartment to pick up our luggage and head to the station. We're on our way to the station. This is Volt Street, or Volta Street more precisely. Alessandro Volta, the man who the Vault is named after, and possibly the most famous man to come from Como. There's a big museum to him on the lakeside and a crypt and what have you. Didn't get a chance to visit that because, well, frankly it's proper engineering geekery. We checked in our hotel in Brescia. This is the Hotel Vittoria, which is very Art Deco, as you can see. Lots of marble and vaults and a nice terrace. We just went up front to see whether it's still open. It is. Now we're just sort of nosing around the hotel. An oldie clock, very much like the one we visited in Venice. Much older buildings. That looks like a concert hall. We're under this garden. There's a very purple lavender stand. Sort of a mix of sort of medieval bits and newer bits, and then some really old bits hiding. There's a cool tower with a bell on. There's a lot of cool towers here. Got to find a way to pop up one tomorrow. So here we are back in one of the squares, which has the gardens and what have you. We just had dinner here. This place is crazy. It's a Neapolitan restaurant. There was many courses. Some of them we paid for, some of them we didn't. There were drinks. Some of them we paid for, some of them we didn't. And that just seems to be how it is. Now we're going to wander back because I've overeaten quite dramatically. Good morning. Because I spectacularly failed to film our apartment in Como despite being there for 3.5 days, I thought I'd show you our Art Deco room in here in Brescia. It's hard to get the scale of it, but it is a 1930s hotel, as the entire square behind us is 1930s, and then you've got a nice view out onto the streets. And across there's the castle, which we're going to go up to at some point, and behind here is the cathedral, which we saw a bit of yesterday. Here is our Art Deco bathroom with marbly glory. So this is all. So these are full-size slabs of marble. It's not marble tiling, which is of course ridiculous. It's especially ridiculous if you consider that down the hallway they're ripping out all the bathrooms and pulling all the marble off the wall, which is absolutely bonkers. We're walking up the hill towards the Castello, which is the castle I showed you out the window earlier. Along this road of a lot of names of the fallen. Well, it's not clear how they've all died, but some of them died in the bombing of Brescia in '74, but the others, I don't know. I was hoping I'd see a sign, but look how frequent they are and look how long the road is. Castle, as promised. They're mowing the moat, which is always good. Moat is primarily car park, it would seem, and a bit of lawn. So this part of northern Italy is kind of considered the industrial part, and it's a manufacturing hub of Italy basically, and you can see that Brescia sort of stretches out to the base of the Alps and it becomes quite industrial further on. This city is the home of at least two large firearms manufacturers, one of which you may have heard of, Beretta, makes shotguns, and it's also home of a couple of very large manufacturing organisations that you probably haven't heard of. But yeah, you can see where the Alps begin and then the mountain lake. So further back, Iseo is kind of that way, and then Garda is kind of round behind the steam engine. It's quite a surprising place, this is, yeah, I have to say. A place I'd never heard of, and now feel like I'm amazed I'd never heard of it. You can see all sorts of other towers and whatnot, and tops of churches. Inside the castle, this is where one of the amazing turrets is, but it won't let me in because tourists can't be trusted with this kind of thing. It's a prisoner's tower, and then they should definitely let us in. Maybe not let us out. This is the very top of the castle. Yeah. And around you can see east pretty much, and then this is a little hill overlooking it with some vineyards and things. Those are the 12 o'clock bells, they're a bit early I calculate. I can smell the Scotch pines. Just going to have a look at the turret without stepping on any lizards. There are a lot of lizards around these parts. I come down from the castle, and this is the Roman ruins, the Forum, etc. On the left here. Going for the grand reveal. Ta-da! Romanesque frescoes from 89 BC. I've come through into the old theatre. This would have been all the seating around the top. Down to here, I guess, would have been the stage, as it were, the bottom. So there we go, and this would have been the forum that would have stretched out in front of us here where the square now is. There would have been columns running all the way down the side here, on both sides. It's remarkable, and this was literally hidden in a bloke's garden, essentially. The hill had sort of slumped down in front of it, and just this one column here was still visible, and somebody sort of questioned him on it in the 1820s, and he was like, oh, you can have a dig around if you like and see what you can find. And they found the remains of this amazing altar, pre-Christian altar, and then eventually the theatre I just showed you on the other side, and all of this stuff and the frescoes in there It's amazing how it can go missing for sort of 1500 years and then sort of reappear. So this is the old or winter cathedral, and this is the co-cathedral, that is the newer one, and or the summer one as they call it. Now that bell signifies it's 1:30, and we're going to try and get in to at least the old one, see if we can get inside, see if we're appropriately dressed, or we need to go back to the hotel and change, which is luckily just the other side of that building. We don't know whether it's open. It might be closed for lunch. So it is genuinely closed for lunch. It closed for 3 hours over lunch, which is a bit crazy. Oh, excuse me, I'm being attacked by a bee. Yeah, so we're going to have to come back at 3:30 when it reopens. It's quite impressive in here. They're doing a lot of restoration work. It's from the 11th and 12th century, so it's a very, very old cathedral. And you can see some of the old flooring, which is mosaics. And some of the amazing ceilings. And now the new, in inverted commas, cathedral is opened. Check out the contrast. All white marble. Ever so big and light. Just gigantic. And yeah, faux Roman colonnades everywhere. Very impressive. We've come out for dinner to this place. The old Brescian Osteria La Grotta. It has some friendly looking locals on the outside, and we're probably far too early because Italians don't eat at 7:30. This is the amazing interior of the Grotto restaurant. There's all sorts of frescoes on the walls and what have you. Next to us is a giant wine mat. We just had wine from there. And that's where we are. It's a very strange location, a little sort of side street, L-shaped side street. And you're not going to notice this place unless you come looking for it, but it's worth it. Osteria La Grotta in Brescia. We've checked out this morning. We're going for a little wander before we have to go and get a metro and then a train to Verona. So, Duomo's again this morning. We're going to go straight on though, seeing we've done double Duomo. So this is the entrance to the monastic complex, Santa Giulia, which has a lot of old stuff in it. Because it's been a monastery for a very, very long time. It says 1493. This is the Museo Santa Giulia, which is an old monastery next to where you stay in the Roman ruins. And there's lots of ancient bits of churches and temples and things. There's sort of half a church up there. And then another church. Roman houses. These were found in the gardens of the monastery. You can see the walls are reasonably intact. You can see the floor coverings, which are incredible. And a tiny man on a tiny horse. We're back in our regular square having lunch. I've got pizza with bresaola, which is beef. Just had some pollo milanese, and the weather's rather warm. Just doing a last little wander around before we get our bags. Looking for a supermarket to buy some drinks. So Brescia is the centre of the Emilia, the 1,000-mile race, but you don't usually have buses parked in the middle of the square, usually 1957 sports cars. This is an amazing square of sort of 1930s fascist era Art Deco for a country that a town that is particularly anti-fascist is quite remarkable, and that is the oldest skyscraper in Italy. You might say, well, it's only about 8 floors, but there we go. It's built in the 30s, reinforced concrete, very original. So this is the Brescia metro system which we arrived on. It's one line and it is all self-driving automated trains. But you still have to buy a ticket and then convalida it, which is, you know, stamp it so it's active. But other than that, it's quite posh. It's like the Jubilee line. You are now leaving Brescia. The question is, I presume that's deliberate. It's upside down on both sides, but it is a bit weird. Here we are at the station on Brescia, and here's our train to take us to Verona. Our new apartment in Verona. Through that door there. We're just going out for a little wander down the stairs past the bamboo and the lights. I'll show you the inside later on. It's very impressive. This whole complex is very impressive. They've taken an old building and they've done it up absolutely beautifully. That's the river and the Roman amphitheatre on the right, but we've done enough Roman stuff in the last 2 days, so we're not doing any more museums today. We've just bought our Verona pass for the next couple of days and now we're going to go and get some provisions. So we've just done some shopping. Our apartment is this white one with the green shutters on the left, and we're in one of the back streets on the east side of the river in Verona. That is the church on the right that you can hear donging, and we're up on the second floor up there, which I'll show you in a moment. So I failed to film the inside again, but we'll get to that in a moment. As you can see, the weather is slightly stormy actually, but only very localised. You can see like the bright sky just to the south of us over there, but there is thunder and lightning and oh, did you see that? That was some lightning. I don't know if you can see that on 30 frames a second, but there was definitely some. But we're going into town nonetheless, see what it's like. Have some dinner, enjoy the thunderstorm. Well, sheltering from the storm, we've accidentally ended up in the courtyard with Juliet's balcony whilst the thunder and lightning crashed behind us. So this bit's undercover here, so it's quite good. It's a bit of wet Verona by night. Still the occasional bang and flash. This is the market, which is obviously closed for the day. When we come back here tomorrow, it should look a bit different. Here we are back in the apartment, having avoided the rain. So a little kitchenette and the table, and we have a chair. And through here, we have a bedroom. Ta-da! And a bathroom with a shower and whatnot. This is the Giusti Gardens just round the corner from where we are. Home of the Giusti family in the 1400s. It had a big textile business. Used to dye wool and what have you. So very nice gardens and very green. And I'm just going up the hill to an angry bridge where we get a nice view of the city. So we've just been up to the top. I'll see if I can show you the angry bridge in a moment. This is a bit of the old city wall, which is apparently from the 1200s, quite old. And someone has put a very large padlock up there, as if they're trying to start a padlock thing, but with just one giant padlock. And you can see up here the castle on a hill, which we're going to go to later via a funicular. And then lots of churches, basilicas, cathedrals. The white tower is from a cathedral. I think the pointy tower is a basilica. It's hard to know what's what really around these parts. Here is the angry bridge. Apparently this used to spit flames out of its mouth and nostrils, which is very odd. That's the palace. On this is Labyrinth. I'm going to see how quickly I can get to the middle. I'm not sure where the breaks and the hedges are legitimate, but we'll give it a go. Ta-da! That wasn't bad, that only took 2.5 minutes. Now, if you're thinking, well, there's a lot quicker way out, you'd be right. Let me show you. You just go down here. and you go through here. Like that. Terrapin pond. And there's a couple sitting here on the right. We're heading back to the Roman bit, where we got our Verona cards yesterday. It's just this building / ruins up here. We're going to explore the old Roman theatre before we go and have a look at their big amphitheatre in the middle of town. So around these parts they continue to use old Roman stuff as it was intended. So the theatre here is in use. They've put obviously some slightly more comfortable seating they've mounted on top. There's been concerts all summer, and the last concert is in a couple of days. They've erected a giant waterproof stage, more importantly, and that happens on the 15th, I think. But we're going to go up and have a look at the bits of the back in a moment. So as well as the Roman theatre down there, there's the remains of an old monastery and church which we've just come through. There's the theatre. Here's all of Verona. And that there is the oldest bridge. It's a Roman bridge which across the river. We've come back down from the ruins here at the top. We're going to go round in a moment, but I thought I'd show you this first. It's a pomegranate tree. Yes, pomegranates grow on trees. That's the first thing. And secondly, isn't that weird? So if you look at one that's split open, there you go. So this is the tiny little funicular that we just came up in. It's more of a lift, really, a diagonal lift. And again the view is amazing. A bit further around the bend in the river, as it were. And this is a big castello that they seem to be doing a lot of refurbishment to.
Oh, it does take them quite a lot. I mean,
There's the other one. Oh, it's going sideways. So we're going over the old bridge. This is the bridge the Romans originally built. And it would have in those days only linked the town with what was an island effectively here in the middle, which is where they built their amphitheatre. Is that right? No, sorry, the island starts further down. So it would have linked to the other side. That tree-lined bit is where the island would have been. And the river would have gone round to the left as well. Created a little island there, which is why it's called Piazza Isolo. Well, it's no longer an island. So this is where we just had lunch. We've just come across the bridge. There's the tower at the end of the bridge. We're going to head off to one of the cathedrals. I say one of the cathedrals, I think it's the cathedral, and there's a couple of basilicas we're going to go to afterwards. And Juliet's balcony, of course, which we saw very briefly last night in the rain. This is Piazza Duomo, because that is the Duomo. In all its Duomo glory. And another winged victory kind of character. And a couple of sphinxes. This is the inside of the Duomo. So there was a basilica on this side in the 4th century, so 300 and something. But most of this was built after the earthquake knocked it all down in the 1100s. And it's still being restored. There's the back of the Duomo, and here is a very old walled something or other. It's being held up, barely. It's now a car park on the inside, but I don't know what it once was. Probably an old building. This is the Basilica of Santa Anastasia. Quite very different from the Duomo in so much as it's less gaudy and there's much more ceiling art, as I just showed you. So it's, still the occasional ridiculous Madonna and Child. We're back in the centre of town, and it's not dark and it's not raining. It's sunny and hot and it's absolutely heaving with people, mainly around here, which is Juliet's balcony. So we want to go up on the right where we sheltered yesterday. But there's a bazillion people, none of whom were around last night. They've all just appeared. There it is. Genuine balcony for mythical Juliet. And you can take a picture of it from up there, obviously, video on it. So I did. There's Juliet's balcony. And there's Juliet. Up there. And there's a lot of people looking at us from the tower.
I'm missing out on like a money maker.
So most people don't actually come into the house. They just have a picture taken with Juliet down there. Some more random bits of Juliet's house. This is quite high up now. So we were earlier on the hill there. That's all the houses. Right, here we are, Piazza dell'Erbe, and you can see there's lots of stalls set out. The market is roaring, the tower is towering, The sun is shining. It's very hot, but the breeze is very pleasant. We'll have a quick wander through the market, see if there's any good tat, and then go out the other end. So this is the piazza in the middle of the town hall, which obviously has the enormous bloody great tower at the top, and as our last tourist activity of the day, we're going to go up there. There's a lift, but there's also a few hundred stairs. So the stairs are free with our ticket. The lift, as you might imagine, is not. So the bells are about to dong. This is going to be incredibly loud, so forgive me in advance. So you can see the amphitheatre where the opera is held over there. I'll zoom out a bit. You can see Piazza dell'Erbe where we were, and here. And to the hills to the north. And that's the church we were in most recently, in the mid-ground, and behind it is the Castel where we went up this morning. This is the Duomo that we were in initially. And then we are staying very close to this church here. Can't quite see our apartment, but it's just there. We've just been having a little drink on the terrace here. And we're just going to go for a very slow wander back this evening. Back to the apartment. Get ready to come out for dinner. We think we found a place that we might want to go to later on. So that's promising, but for the time being we're just going to wander around the shops a bit. My phone battery will no doubt die in the next 2 minutes. This is where we're going to try and eat tonight. Santa Felicita, which is an old church. Welcome inside our church cum restaurant with art on the walls for a projector. Very old walls. Upstairs, as I showed you, and stained glass pictures, and the kitchen is in the nave. It's a very long staircase up somebody's front door. And we're just arriving into Piazza dell'Erbe. Oh yeah, look, an owl bag, only €5 for that double owl bag. Obviously the weather's a lot nicer tonight, and it is a Friday night, and it is bustling, as you can hear by the hubbub. There's a Venetian line up there, looking happy. This is Romeo's house apparently. It's quite dark and you can't see a lot, but there's some battlements and a balcony. And this is his gaff. So today you can see that the clouds are coming down from the north. It's a huge band of rain that was over across the UK a couple of days ago. It's currently in Switzerland and it's working its way towards us slowly. It's no Hurricane Irma, but it is still pretty wet. It's not here yet. So we're going to go and see the couple of things that we didn't see yesterday in our extensive touristing, which is the amphitheatre and a couple of bits around that way. So we're inside the amphitheatre, which is very much like a smaller version of the Colosseum, except that the floor is intact and so it's still used. In fact, it's set up to be used at the moment. So it's an amphitheatre just like the Colosseum. It is a bit smaller than the Colosseum. The reason the Colosseum is so cool is because it's so massive. And the exterior wall is missing, but everything else is intact. As you can see, and this is used for the opera season in Verona. That's the only bit of the exterior wall that remains. And almost all the seating is still intact, but they put out metal seats anyway, just for people's comfort. So we think it's probably about half the length of the Colosseum, maybe a little less. And it's obviously slightly less ornate, because it's basically pressed down to the steps and there's not big viewing platforms, but it is intact and it is being used, which is fantastic, because the best thing about Roman ruins is they're built to last, actually, and they shouldn't have been left to ruin. They should be used, and it's incredible to think that, you know, 2,000 years after it's built, people are still seeing shows here. So I'm standing right on the top here, seeing what remains of the inner wall, out to Piazza Bra. And all the lighting is at the top, and the hills in the distance. Just through that last arch you can see the tower of the main square we went up yesterday, and behind it the castle that we walked up to as well yesterday morning. And the hills beyond. You can see all the different coloured marbles that make up the seats all around. The pink marble is what Verona is famous for, as I mentioned, I think the other day in the cathedral. This last piece has had to be quite heavily pinned and reinforced because it's obviously not supported by much anymore. Now, marble is obviously made up of fossilised bits of the seafloor. It's been very heavily worn here, but every now and again you can see remains of a fossil like an ammonite, which you may have seen people trying to sell before. So here's one. And there's a really big one. Those were big sea worms. And there's quite a lot of them in this marble. It's obviously been, as I say, it's been worn, so it feels slightly polished, but it's still surprising how much you can make out in the fossilised bits. Stage view. It's quite intimidating, isn't it? All these people around you. There is a performance on tonight at 9:30, but we're not going. It is the most expensive tickets, which are those ones directly ahead, essentially behind the arch there, are like €100, and the cheapest ones, which are right at the top up there, are like 33. There we go, let's take that side. And that's the last little bit that remains from the exterior wall. This is Piazza Bra. Quite a fancy little square, fountain, and then these beautiful buildings. Classic Italian style around the edge, which are all restaurants obviously. Here is the castle. Very castle-y. So we're walking around another bit of Verona, which is essentially outside the old city walls. It's kind of another little centre, as it were, away from the main bit. Down here you can see it's still got some old medieval buildings and whatnot. But there's no tourists. So that's a little square where we just had lunch at 100 Montaditos, which is a Spanish chain, but there's a few in Italy and they're amazing. So sandwiches galore. And this is the last of our basilicas on our basilica tour. And it's got another lovely little square. This part of town is so much quieter than by the Roman amphitheatre, which was hectic. Oh yeah, we've crashed a wedding. Good timing. Very impressive. It's quite a large bit of land for the basilica actually. So it stretches all the way around here, and there's outbuildings and all sorts. There's the wedding. And here's the square that we're on, which is named after the basilica. So just in case I didn't say the name, it's Chiesa di San Zeno, which is where we're currently heading. This is the courtyard outside the basilica. It's very pretty. This is the wedding coming into the basilica. Now that we've finished crashing a wedding and we've seen the bride and the last basilica, we're wandering back towards Piazza Bra, where the amphitheatre is, to catch a land train tour of Verona. So we're on a land train. Go for a tour. The Greys finally called us. There's a concert going on the steps. Town hall down there.
Tout le fleuve de Vérone, l'Adige, long de 400 km, il prend sa source au passage Brescia dans les Alpes et se perd dans le lagon de Venise.
So we got to get off the land train because it's broken down. We're nearly back. There's a complete land train failure. He's broken his bus. We're about 100 metres from the finish line, and it started making strange smells and smoke, and then it stopped. So it appears it looks like the radiator has gone. There's all sorts of fluids coming out, and it's dead. Oh well. We got 98% of that tour. Here is the city wall. Quite impressive down here. It's quite complete. It runs all the way down the road, and we're now actually, luckily, before we broke down nearer to Juliet's tomb than he would have finished on, so we saved us a bit of a walk. Slightly oddly. We've accidentally crashed another wedding at Juliet's tomb. That's what's happening down here. And this is Juliet's tomb, apparently. Down here in the family vault. And we're back. Pretty much. The grey clouds are rolling in over the hills. The rain is supposed to reach us later on. At the moment it's actually just a pleasant temperature. I'll have to see what it's like when we need to go out for dinner. See whether it's another thunderstorm or whether it's actually just more of this. So we've just had the most incredible rainstorm, lightning storm, solid, constant lightning, and frankly sheet water from the sky. It lasted about 10-11 minutes and it stopped, and we had to shelter and have a drink. We only got about 100 metres from the front door. You can see by the spray in the cars, it's quite damp. And now we're going to leg it across the bridge and try and get to a restaurant before it repeats. But the roads are flooded. That was quite the most ferocious storm I ever saw that lasted such a short period of time. So I'm hoping you still get to see some lightning. So that storm came in from Lake Garda apparently. So we were told by our landlord. And he did say it was going to be ferocious. And it literally came out of nowhere. It was not raining, and then suddenly there were huge thunder raindrops, massive things. There we go, that was definitely lightning. You saw that, right? Can't hear it because it's nowhere nearby. But... Good morning. We are just meandering around town for a couple of hours before our train. We bought bus tickets. The weather, as you can see, is a little grey. It's not nowhere near as bad as it was last night, but it's certainly very different to what it has been the last few days. What do you do on a Sunday morning? Well, I just get into the river and I surf. Just surf upstream on a grey Sunday morning on my own. There's all sorts of different types of crazy in this world. This is one of the more harmless types. So everything in Verona is made out of marble. You can see the Veronese pink marble makes up the doorways and the window frames and the balcony bases below the frescoes, and obviously all the pavements made of marble as well. I mean, they must have an amount of marble that's really hard to fathom. If you think how much it costs if you want to redo your kitchen out of marble, here they just made a pavements out of it. Well, we just came across the synagogue in Verona by mistake. I mean, it looks like a church from the outside. It probably was built as a church, but it now has a lot of Hebrew carvings on the outside, and it looks very good. And obviously it has quite a heavy amount of security, and I haven't filmed it for exactly that reason. But it looks really spectacular. I'm carrying on a meander through the back streets. As we tend to, we've just stumbled across some more Roman ruins. Quite impressive. I don't know how we always manage to do this. Not entirely, I think it might be remnants of a temple, but I'm not entirely sure. No, it's not a temple, it is a gate. This is the wall, the old Roman wall to the city, and this is one of the gates with the round bases you can see from the towers. We're walking back to the apartment to get the suitcases and a bus. Let's go to Venice. We are here after taking one bus in the wrong direction and then waiting 15 minutes and then taking another bus in the right direction. We've made it with a whole 5 minutes to spare.